Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, the High Guy Jacobs, and today we're taking a look at the Island Raid Bracket Breakdown. This for Island Raid starting on April 23rd, 2025. First and foremost, we ended up in G93, which is way outside of our normal hitting bracket. So it seems at first glance that what IGG has done is a swing in the opposite direction as what they've done for us in the past. Normally we end up in the brackets that we shouldn't be in because we are under strength. In my opinion, we should be, or actually in a bracket we shouldn't be in because we might be a little over strength. It does seem on paper to be quite balanced, but so far from what we're seeing after the first 12 hours or first 15 hours, unless we're hiding some big secrets here, this is going to be an interesting battle for us, or an interesting IR either nonetheless. I'm hoping it's not as easy as people think, or as what it could be, but it very well could be a cakewalk for us. Either way, if we're gonna take a look at this, let's take a look from the top down. First, we're gonna look at S379 coming out of Region 379. They logged in with a 3.8 billion mite. And if we take a look at their members, we're looking at 83 here. They do have a 206 here in Grizzly Bear, but he's only rocking 127 million kills. Yeah, and he's pretty balanced. And fortunately, when you're pretty balanced, especially when you're getting up around this mite, it means that you're not hitting as hard as you probably could compared to someone who has been focusing that time. So if you look at mine, for example, my infantry is going to hit harder than in his infantry. My infantry is going to hit harder than his riders. My infantry could even hit harder than his ranged. See what I'm saying? Like, because of the fact that mine are already level, like, don't get me wrong, they're all red already, which is great. But mine are already fully level 10, whereas he's got level 4s and level 3s and level 2s around. And when I look at his kills, for example, I mean, most of his kills are in tier 4s and tier 5s. He doesn't fight much tier 6. So, I will be looking for him on the field, obviously. These are the kind of players that I like to target. I like to punch up in my case. Just because if I look at the rest of them here, unfortunately, this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm at 100. Most of our players that are about 100 million. So, anytime we have these guys that are sitting right around that or a little bit under, I feel a little bit bad for them. So, they do have Grizzly Bar, and they do have this one here in Marty. But Marty is already, he was over 300 million mite, and he's already down to 282. So, he's seems to be fighting a little bit. No, not chat, sorry. Let's go back to here. They do have Marty. And if we look at Marty, again, the kills are low. Yes, he's got some more parts sitting here in his infantry. So his parts might be a little bit better, but he's balanced all over. And his refinements are quite low. So I'm also going to assume, even for 300 million mite, that most of his stuff, for example, especially when looking at his kills, most of his stuff is probably in troops, where he's going to have most of his power and might. He'll probably have a lot of troops, but I don't see him fighting very often. So unfortunately, I'm not seeing much, and I don't mean to, don't mean to be rude by any stretch. Again, I think this is IGG's fault. But if you look at our team, for example, like I'll show you Grop just so you can kind of see what we're compared with. We technically registered at 4.4 billion. But if we look at it, all that we registered with are the R2s, R3s, and our, like, this here. We've got 15 in here that don't matter. Okay? Right? 15. Oh, did we lose some players somehow, or they moved around somehow? I'll have to look. Oh, that's right, because we do have some players here that are sitting out. But basically all we registered with is myself, all of my R4s, which if you look at, except for this guy, because this is one of my alts, right? But if you look at all of our R4s, right, 150, 210 out of Nandu. We've got 214 out of Chad, 150, 150. Only here do we start dropping a little bit in Sifu and Rekt and Hakimu. But the rest of them, 140, 130, were mostly over 100. And even if you look at our rank 2, 100, 100, 150, only now do we see some of the lower ones. Harry Wan is here. So, I mean, like, we have a scenario where I don't think we're in the right bracket. I think we're hitting a little bit harder. So you compare us against S379, for example, and I think on paper, we're still doing better. Let's take a look at SIS. They registered at 3.7, so that's 800 million less than we did, right? And even if you compare here, 112, 117, or 171, 142, like they don't have anybody substantial enough to be able to bang with our guys either, right? Again, nothing against these guys. This is, again, the problem with IGG. I think the bracket themselves, 171, 154. Now we can take a look and see how he's like for fighting. And he likes to fight, right? He does like to fight. Lots of tier 5s, tier 4s, and tier 5s. Decent amount of tier 6, and he does have white parts, right? Nice hyper focus. So I'm not saying that it's not within the same spectrum like this guy is, but this is the top guy on their team. Whereas our top guy is Chad, and this is a guy that I could even bang with here, right? Like he would probably beat me still. He's stronger than I am for sure, but we still have 4 or 5 people that are stronger than me. He is the strongest on their team. You see what I'm saying? So like everything comes down to him. He has to be the strongest. Whereas everything doesn't come down to me. We've got 4 or 5 other people that are above me. Nandu's up above me. Chad's up above me, right? So like we have other people that are able to fall into that role. So unfortunately, even on paper, we're above SIS, right? Even when looking at their members, yeah, they have a couple of them, right? 150, 170, but I mean the rest of them, it seems pretty unfair for us so far. Unfair on the opposite team. Like I don't think we should be in this bracket either. We should be much higher in the G brackets, I think. Now let's look at RS41, pardon me. They did register at 5.2. So here's the discrepancy. We're looking at 3.8, 3.7, 3.7, 4.1, 4.4, 4.0. So going from 3.7 to 5.2. Explain that to me. How does that even make sense? Now, granted, if we look at this team, I mean, their might is inflated huge. Let's look at their members. 149, 161, 143. So again, nothing huge, just a lot of members in comparison, right? 80 something members, they said. 168, 158. But nothing to shake a stick at, just a lot of players. Right? No big players, just a lot of smaller players, which is fine. It just doesn't mean, like, are they going to be able to sustain in rallies and garrisons, right? That's the biggest question. And here, again, even registering at 5.2, I mean, a comparison, that's 1.5 billion might between these two alliances. They shouldn't be in the same bracket. Okay. Next, we look at LPHS. Now, I have a little bit of history. I used to be in 327. So, I know these guys a little bit. Pardon me. Oh, this is the old PHS alliance. PHS. Unless they merged or something, I'm not really sure. But I know some of these players. So like Katana, for example. Calliope, I know her main. This is one of her farms. But here, I mean, I look at this team, for example, and unfortunately even there, they're well underpaired, right? 73, 120 is the highest out of their rank 4s. 120 is the highest out of their rank 3s. 107, so they're not even in the right bracket either. Which is quite unfortunate if you ask me. IGG really dropped the ball here. Now, unless they're diehard fighters, but I think even then, like, they're kind of fighting uphill at this point. Now, we did look at P178, and if we look at their members, they're kind of seeing the same thing, that they do have a couple of larger options here, right? We've got 145 with 167 million kills, so they're definitely a little bit of a fighter out of this one. We've got here rocking 430 with a couple of white parts, so definitely more, more focused there. 400 million kills, likes to fight. You got Cyber here with, you know, more than a 1-to-1 ratio, likes to fight. A little bit awkward, if you ask me here. Obviously, a Rider main. I like the rainbow effect. That's kind of what I had too. So I don't necessarily blame him so much. I had this on my alt account like this as well. So we looked at these guys and we're like, obviously, this could be a problem. These guys will probably be one of the bigger fighters that are out there on the team. Did we form a coalition with them? Yeah. Does that make it a little bit easier for us? Yes. But in reality, we did that specifically because then it was like 2v6 or 2v6. But now it's 3v5 overall, which isn't bad. I mean, that's still 5 alliances that can theoretically still take us on. And we're split up, so it's hard for us to get to each other. So, but again, this is all dynamics. Let's talk more about the brackets, right? Next, we look at WJPF coming in at 4.4 billion. What do we got for members out of these guys? 152. Nothing really out of their R4 team, just the 152 there. Out of R3s, 108 is their highest. Not much else. A lot of 60s, a lot of lowers. I guess it depends on how many they registered. So even these guys shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? Or we shouldn't be. This is, again, just reasons why we shouldn't be here. Well overmited here. And then we look at SIDO. Sido or Singo Mudo, whichever. And we look here, we've got what? 63, 155, 158. Right? So it's like we're really, in my opinion, in the wrong bracket. We shouldn't be here. But we are. So IGG put us here. And now we have it set up for a fairly easy one. Doesn't mean we're not going to be getting out there getting our points. I'm definitely going to be pushing Sido, for example. I'm definitely going to be pushing WJPH or WJPF, and I'm definitely pushing the S379. If I can get to the other side of the map, I'm going to be doing and focusing on those guys as well. And then just doing what I can for our 3-way alliance. I'm pretty much thinking we lock that down at 3. If we take anything more, it's going to be super boring. So we're really kind of focusing on the win here. But unfortunately, if I look at this bracket, guys, on paper, it looks like GROP was put inside of a gifted bracket for us. And I have to admit, this is not what I want. Just as much as I don't want the matchmaking to go one way, I don't like being on the receiving end of this. I don't like being on the receiving end of being gifted one either. I want a good match. I want a good balance. And unfortunately, unless this changes, which we'll see, right? This is just my initial speculation. I could be totally wrong. Take this all with a grain of salt. This is just what the paper tells me. Okay? So, let's play through this. Obviously, we're going to get recordings for the fights that we have, if we have any. And the conclusion, how it ends up on day 3. So we still have a couple of videos to go for this IR. So wrap in for those and prepare if you haven't already. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Fill out the notification bell so you get any new drops when we do drop new content. This is going to be it for the bracket review, guys. We've taken a look at everything. We have an understanding what we're going into. I will show you the build out later when we go, or what's happening out in the actual map when we start talking about the actual fights. So you'll have to tune in for that video, and if you haven't filled out the notification bell, then you won't know when that happens. So make sure you fill out that notification bell. And if you can, go ahead and click that join button. For $5 a month, you can become a member and really, really help the channel. Because unfortunately, IGG doesn't pay anything at all, and YouTube really doesn't pay very much. So in order to keep everything going, we really need to ask the community for as much support as we can. So if you can, go ahead and click that join button, become a member. And help the channel thrive that way. But other than that, folks, thanks very much for tuning in. I love y'all. Love, peace, chicken grease, and until next time, stay lifted.